some tips on structuring, creating, writing guitar solos for metal. At the end of this video, if you like that solo, I will break it down and show you what I did. If you don't like it, you don't have to watch that bit. So yeah, for this lesson you will need a guitar. This one is tuned to D standard. You don't need to tune to D because you won't be literally following any examples in this lesson. I'm just going to be giving you some tips. You will also need a guitar pick. It doesn't have to be this one, but this is a good one, and it's got an inverted pentagram on it, so it's extra metal. You will need an amp. You will need a distortion pedal. It doesn't have to be that one, but it is a good one. And I would also recommend a noise gate to cut out any unwanted noise. You'll need a guitar lead. To be true metal, you will also need a pair of glasses so you can see the metal. So tip number one would be find the key of the song you're playing. So the song I was playing just now, and the other guitar was playing the same thing, except it was playing and. So the chords in that piece were A5, G5, E5, F5 and E5 again. Okay, so even when I was playing here, we've still got an F and an E minor. So the key, so those power chords, A, G, E, F and back to E, are all in the key of C. However, because we are starting on the A, it's fair to assume that we are in the key of A minor. Once you know the key, what do you do with that? Well, you don't have to stick in the key. If you want to play outside of the key, that's absolutely fine, but it gives you a place to start and you know where to begin with your soloing. So the next thing, you want to look at your key and then decide which scales you want to use. So do you want to use the E Phrygian, or do you want to use an A minor, or do you want to use a B Lockean? Okay, so you can use any of these sort of different scales. I do cover the actual scales that you would want to look at in metal in another video, and I'll put the description to that. No, I won't. I'll put the link to it in the description. So once you've found your key and you've decided what scales you want to use, you also want to take a look at the arpeggios. So in this riff, we've got an A. So in the key of C major, an A would be a minor. Then we've got a G. So in the key of C, G would be a major arpeggio. Then we've got open E. So that would give you an E minor, because in the key of C, the E is a minor. Then we got, so that's F. So again, F will give you a major, because F is a major arpeggio in the key of C. And back to an E, and we already know that that is a minor. So A minor arpeggio. Then we've got a G major. Then you've got an E minor, which you can play, and F major. So anywhere you can find those arpeggios, they would fit over the top of those chords. The next tip would be to think carefully about your starting note and your finishing note. So I start the riff on that A note there. So the first note that I play, I'm bending from a G up to an A, so that fits over that first chord and it instantly pulls you in. So you don't need to use the same note as the root, but a note that is some kind of harmony will always work well. Okay, so that'll be the next tip, and then at the end I'm ending on the E note, and I end on an E note of the solo. So it starts on the A, which is where the riff starts, and it ends on an E where the riff ends. So yeah, I'd think about that. Sometimes you might want to bring in a note that is discordant if you want that kind of sound, or you might want to bring in, so we're playing on the A, you might want to bring it in from a semitone down. So I'll now give you a quick demo just with the looper and show you how it would sound bending up from the G and bending up from the G sharp. One of the best tips that I ever read on creating a guitar solo was from Dave Murray, the guitar player from Iron Maiden, and he said that when he creates a solo he tries to tell a story with the solo, so it has a beginning, a middle and a conclusion. And I thought that was a really good analogy for a solo, because all the best solos, they seem to flow as a good story flows. So think about how, you know, if you've written something and it doesn't quite flow or it doesn't go, take it out and start again, or change that part, because it needs to flow, and a good story flows. And if you can tell a story with the solo, that's a really good analogy that I thought Dave came up with. So I suppose the next tip kind of links into the last tip about flow and telling a story, and that is to have a variety of techniques and a variety of note durations. If your solo is just loads of fast picking, you know, it might sound good, but it wouldn't sound like a great solo. It would just sound like a good technique, more like an exercise than a solo. And most good solos will have a variety of techniques, so bends, slides, legato, picking, and note durations. So they're not just, you know, 16th note picking as fast as you can, because that gets a bit boring after a while. So try and put different variety of note duration and technique into the solo. Also, another tip for you is to ignore everything I've just said. So some of the best solos don't follow the key, some of the best solos don't follow the arpeggios, they'll do something completely different and they sound awesome. So just because there are guidelines in music, you don't have to follow them. So use your ears and let that be your ultimate guide. So if you do want to know what I did to write that solo, here is the answer. So the riff starts off with the A. So from there I've bent up from the G on the high E string up to the A. Then back down to the G. So when it's down on the G, I'm playing this B note here, which is the third. Up to the C, and then down to the A. So bend up. So the A would be the ninth of that G chord. Then I've gone into, I've played an open G chord, no I haven't, I've played an open G note, and then while we're on the E, I'm playing an E minor arpeggio, so I'm playing 7-3 open on the high E string, then I'm playing 12-7, and that's also an E minor arpeggio. Then we come up to, and I'm playing, which is an F major 7 arpeggio, or it's almost an F major 7 arpeggio. It hasn't got an A in it, but it's got the 1, the 5 and the 7, and then back to the E minor arpeggio for when it's back into the E. So with the bend, the little lick, arpeggios, arpeggios, arpeggios. Then over the A for the next part of the riff, I'm playing an A minor arpeggio. So there are a couple of other notes in there, but it's mainly an A minor arpeggio. And then I play this 7th fret on the E, which is in an A minor arpeggio. Then it drops down to the G, and I'll just play the same arpeggio again. Okay, then I've got this little lick. And counting it down in 4s. Okay, then I'm playing, which is an F, so it's a 1 and a 3 from an F chord, which is the F and the A, sliding that up 2 frets to the G, and then I'm playing a 1 and a 3 from an E minor arpeggio. So then we're back onto the A again, and I'm playing an A minor arpeggio, which is 17, 12, 13. Then I'm playing a G major arpeggio, which is 15, 10 on the E, and then the 12 of the B. Then I'm playing a B minor an E minor arpeggio, which is 12 and 7 of the E and 8 of the B. Then I'm playing an F major arpeggio, which is 13, 8, 10. Then I'm playing the E minor again. So then we have this lick. So that is over the top of the A. So we've got that note there, the root. Then we've got, which is over the G, and gives you that 3rd note again. Then we've got, which is just an E minor arpeggio, or an E minor 7. Then we've got, which is just an E5, which is but a little bit higher, and I'm just playing that in the same rhythm. And then we got, which is an F, or it's half of an F, so it's a C, so it's the 5th and the 1 from an F chord. Then I'm going to play the F and the C, which is just an octave of that, and then an E, which is the root note. So if we put the whole thing together slowly.